Welcome to the 1996 announcement show. It's great to be with you, even though I'm on tape. In fact, we're on tape today for a very good reason. About 2 years ago, we looked at the numbers and realized that what we've been saying for years was even truer than we realized. That this really is a partnership. There's never been a year when we at the factory did well that you didn't. And there's never been a year when you did well that we didn't. We're in this thing together. So a couple of years ago, we started a kind of Chrysler Corporation mini tradition to recognize that fact. We kicked it off by bringing you to Detroit to meet the Chrysler family. You looked around the new technology center, you met some of the people who work here, and you got a first-hand chance to see our commitment and our dedication to the future. Your response was so strong that last year we continued the tradition by taking the next step. We went to Orlando to meet your families. Our idea was to celebrate the fact that for so many of you, this is a family business. But I've got to tell you that Orlando trip made a difference for some of us in some surprising ways. We watched your kids put together ads, we saw them participate in the finale, and we came away with a whole new appreciation of what family really means to this business. So we decided to continue the tradition this year and bring it full circle. To reach out to your dealership families, to the folks who sell 2.5 million cars and trucks every year, one at a time, and to the people who service and shuttle those cars and trucks, one at a time. To the men and women who answer the phones and sweep the floors and do the filing. To all the people who make this business work. The trick was in getting to all of those people. Obviously, we couldn't shut down the factory while we staged 4,700 plus announcement shows out there, and we couldn't close down the store while everybody flew to Disney World for a few days, although we know we would have enjoyed that. So this series of tapes is the next best thing. They're the best way we could think of to reach out to dealers, managers, salespeople, service technicians, parts people, porters, janitors, receptionists, field personnel, to talk to each of them individually as key players on a single team. The business is changing, and we need to adapt in a hurry. And that's going to take a commitment of everyone in the dealership. Over the past few years, we focused mainly on building the products we need to stay competitive. Today, with a brand new showroom and with more new products in the pipeline, it's time to shift our focus to the strategies we need to stay competitive. We started laying the groundwork for this shift with Customer One. The idea was to build awareness of the fact that customers are demanding that we start doing business in a whole different way. Some of you took that awareness and really ran with it. You changed your business practices. You started to experiment with new ideas. And some of you have seen a big jump in customer satisfaction as a result. But the fact is, the same process is going on at every other car and truck company. Overall, our program has just kept us with the industry's pace. And that's just not good enough today. We need to find a way to outpace the industry. The reason is simple. The way cars and trucks are distributed in this country is changing. And if our distribution network doesn't change just as fast, there's a real possibility it'll get changed for us and not for the better. Today's customers have alternatives, and they're using them. Last year, 1.4 million buyers bought vehicles outside of the franchise automobile network. They're happy they did it. And 4 out of 5 say that they're likely to do it again. CarMax is changing the way used cars are being sold. There are at least 250 dealers actively doing business on the internet today. Leasing is getting steadily more popular, and computer technology is making it possible for anyone to become a broker for $300. Besides a growing number of alternatives today, customers have information, and lots of it. For the cost of the connect time, anybody with a computer can dial up the internet and find out the MSRP and the dealer invoice on nearly every car and truck and every piece of original equipment sold in this country today. Bottom line, in all of these ways and others, there's a major assault on the way we've done, and in many cases still do business. And if all of us aren't fighting back, then we've got a real problem. Jack Welch of General Electric put it this way. He said, "If change on the outside is greater than change on the inside, then the end is near." And here's the change we need to implement. We need to find new ways to handle our customers with care, because that's what's going to keep them as our customers. That's why Handle with Care is the theme of this program and the entire 1996 announcement event. It might also be called the theme of a major initiative that we'll kick off on the heels of this program, Advanced Customer One. But Advanced Customer One isn't just about handling customers with care. It's also about handling your dealership with care. Most of you probably remember a few years ago when we started a real concerted corporate effort to focus on the business. We got rid of the airplane companies and the defense companies and all the stuff that wasn't about cars and trucks. At the same time, we started looking at our processes in a brand new way. In particular, we began doing something called activity-based costing, which gives you a chance to find out exactly what your processes cost and where the waste is and what the waste cost you. You talk about an eye-opener. Well, let me tell you, when you see what it really costs to say, "We've always done it that way," you start seeing things in a whole new light. Giving you the tools to look at your dealership that way is part of what Advanced Customer One is all about. And that's just the beginning. There's nothing fuzzy about Advanced Customer One. It's a chance to reinvent your dealership exactly the way you want it to be, the way it can survive into the next century. In Advanced Customer One, you'll talk about your dealership's vision and about the specific activities that will turn that vision into reality. You'll look at customer processes and at dealership processes, and you'll learn how to break those down into tasks that can be monitored and managed to deliver outstanding value to the customer. You'll learn how to rearrange work to focus everyone's activity where it really counts, at the point of customer impact. And your staff will get the tools they need to help make your vision become a reality. You'll learn to see customers as a business asset, just like tools or inventory or office equipment. You'll begin to focus less on tasks and more on processes that create value for the customer and reduce waste for the dealership. And they'll learn to make decisions that produce fewer delays, lower overhead, and better customer response. In short, you, your management team, and your employees will get the tools you need to make Handle with Care not only a meeting theme, but a new way of doing business. And now it's time to start that process of change with an inside look at the people and the activities that are leading Chrysler Corporation into the next century. And to help give us that look, we have a very special guest with us, one of the most respected and honored figures in the television industry and one of the world's most accomplished interviewers, Larry King.
Thanks, Ted. We're coming to you today from the Chrysler Technology Center with two very special guests. Chrysler Corporation Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Bob Eaton, and Chrysler Corporation President and Chief Operating Officer Bob Lutz. It's the Bobs. This telecast is all about Chrysler Corporation's 1996 model new car announcement. First question is for both of you. How's it going? Or as they say in my trade, how's business?
Never been better. Chrysler's really in great shape right now. Our balance sheet is strong. We've never, ever had products as good as we have today. And sales are pretty good out there.
Yeah, and our new model launches are coming along fine. Everything we've got in the pipeline is going to be the way we want it to be. And so I think from a product standpoint and future product, we're in great shape as well.
Is this boom concept with the mid-90s? When did this thing start for Chrysler?
Actually, with the new products in 1992. We started coming back a little bit in 91, but 92 we started building momentum. And quite frankly, the momentum is still building. We really aren't at our best yet.
So the company's doing fine. You both are doing happily and well. I mean, do you get along together?
Yeah,
It's important to dealers to
Best-
know that the president and the CEO are comfortable with each other.
I guess you should always ask the subordinate first on that one.
So I'm asking
It's
you.
the best relationship I've ever had with a reporting senior in my whole career.
No kidding.
Yep.
That's a bold statement, mate. And what's it like to
Couldn't be better. We enjoy being around each other, and we think alike. We both love cars, and terrific relationship.
And when you disagree, is it informal disagreement? I mean, you can't agree on everything.
No, but those are so few and far between, they really don't come into
Well,
play.
when we do, I feel totally comfortable telling Bob that I disagree with something, and I always make sure he knows he's the boss in the final analysis, but we have very frank disagreements sometimes, but never over very substantive issues.
So you're friends, too?
Yes.
Sure say so, yep.
Yeah. Let's get into something about each of you. What's your pet hobby?
Probably hunting if you got to pick one.
In Michigan or anywhere?
Anywhere. Primarily bird hunting.
Mr. Lutz, you fly, right?
Yeah, I basically like things with engines in them, or skiing, but it's cars, bikes, helicopters, and airplanes.
And you use them all frequently? Do you fly to work?
I do, yeah, the helicopter occasionally gets chartered, but when it isn't chartered and the weather's decent, I like to fly it to work.
Does that worry Mr. Eaton?
Not at all.
Let him go, right?
He's been flying since he was a Marine, and
Both of you are car freaks, though, right?
Absolutely
Might be termed
right.
Certified.
What do you drive?
well, actually, I probably drive a Grand Cherokee more than anything else. But I also have a Viper at home and a JA at home, and I drive them
You
all.
have a Viper, right? When you get behind a Viper, do you change? Does your personality change?
It occasionally changes.
Something happens in that car, right?
Yeah, I was, however, recently passed an off-duty police officer at triple-digit speed, and I decided I was going to have to watch that personality change a little bit.
What happens to you and why?
I had that same problem. As a matter of fact, I was going out to Bob's house, I guess about a year ago, and I was so concentrated on the car that I passed a policeman on a motorcycle. Moving, mind you.
So both of you deal with equipment and things, so you're careful about things. And the theme of Chrysler this year, and you're going to have to explain it to me, is handle with care. This is something usually you see stamped on a FedEx package if there's glass inside. So you want to break it down for me, Bob. What does it mean?
You know, the bottom line of this business is customer satisfaction. And part of that's the product, and a big part of it is how you handle the customer at the dealership. The way they get treated, how fair they think they're being treated, how friendly, and so really handle with care in every part of the transaction.
You're talking about the customer then here, right?
Yeah, handle with care really means the customer. And as Bob said, this business is getting so competitive. Everybody builds good cars now. There's no such thing as a bad automobile or a bad truck. They all last forever. They all have great quality. You can still differentiate yourself somewhat with styling and excitement, which is what we're doing so successfully now. But there are other brands out there, and one of them's domestic, that are differentiating themselves by how well they look after the customer and how how wonderful the whole buying and ownership experience is.
So the handling is as important as the product.
I would say so, absolutely.
without
I know
doubt.
as a customer, service is very important.
Sure.
How
And
well
that's
I'm
all
treated
part of it.
after I buy the car.
Yeah. You really got to think about customer satisfaction from the time the customer walks in the door the
Or
first
even
time
phones the dealership.
until exactly
That's right. The
until
switchboard operators
Yeah,
important.
absolutely.
until he comes in for his next car. You know, that might be 2 years, that might be 8 years.
Now, we think of giant corporations, and as a layman, I think of you two guys at the top, and dealers are out there somewhere. How do you deal with them to have the people watching this now better serve their customers?
Well, we're spending a lot of money on training, not only dealership personnel, but our own people who interface with the dealers.
Or is the corporations very accessible to the dealer?
Well, we try to be, and you know, you just said something, that we're up here and the dealers are out there. That's one of the perceptions that we want to eradicate in the minds of all factory people. It isn't like a mountain with the factory on top and the dealers down in the valley. We tend to view it as a horizontal plane, a value-added chain, from the suppliers through us to the dealers to the customer. Everybody's at the same level. And what we're trying to do is use every bit of that chain, whether it's the suppliers or us or the dealers, but finally when that product and the service gets to the customer, it's got to be totally satisfactory. The whole experience has got to be satisfactory, and that means that we have to increasingly link ourselves with the dealers rather than having an adversarial relationship. It's really got to be a partnership with one focus, which is to give maximum satisfaction to the customer.
And it's very important that the person in Phoenix get treated as well as the person in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're independent people, these people
Sure
who run
they
your
are.
dealerships, right? And
Yes.
they usually, they've gotten to be successful by doing things a lot their own way, so they have to get into a different kind of cooperative mode, don't they?
And that's what we were trying to do, you know, with the training, with the Customer One training and the advanced Customer One training, is to try to get everybody to really come away from whatever they've been doing and come back to a very organized process in how to deal with that customer and actually delight the customer. We don't want to just satisfy them, we want to delight them.
We don't want cookie cutter, one size fits all, because dealers are all individual personalities. They have their individual styles. You know, some are obviously more conservative, others are more outgoing. Well, that's fine. A lot of styles will work, but the basics are, you know, respect for the customer and a love of the customer, seeing things through the customer's eyes and dealing with the customer in the way that they like to be dealt with themselves.
Do you teach people to be nice?
Well, obviously that's part of it, but that's only the superficial veneer. If the right attitude and the right behavior isn't there, then the superficial niceness isn't going to cut it.
That seems logical in a service business.
No
that
question.
You want to be nice to the people who are bringing you income.
But Bob's point is they can see through it. If it's really...
If it's just a veneer.
If it's just a veneer, it won't work.
Got a progress report on how you're dealing with dealers?
Well, yes. In recent years, we have moved up sharply in these surveys that rank the dealer's view of the company, and we've gone from pretty much being cellar dwellers to seeing most of our brands rating us in the very top up with the best.
Or you had a lot of changes to make.
No
Well,
question.
we had a lot of changes to make, but frankly, the excellence of our product and the high acceptance of our product in the marketplace has a lot to do with how our franchise views us. At the same time, we've been trying to get better at the way we deal with our immediate customers, who are the dealers. And while we still have a long way to go,
But this is something the public doesn't know much about. This is simple as returning a dealer's call quickly,
Sure.
getting an answer for him or her quickly.
Absolutely, and making sure they've got the right, the right parts there to fix the vehicle. They've got all the manuals there. They know if we've had a problem, they've got a technical service bulletin so that they can take care of that customer.
and letting them make the judgments when a customer needs to be helped outside of warranty. We've had
Outside of
sometimes a very bureaucratic system on approvals for special cases, what we call policy adjustments. And more we want to shift that responsibility to the dealers, show them that we trust them and so on.
How well do you think your dealers do with customers? I mean, do you have a follow-up system to check on those watching
Oh,
us
sure.
now?
We know how every dealership in the country rates with respect to their sales satisfaction and customer satisfaction, and we've seen some tremendous improvements. But just like Chrysler, we've got a, they've got a ways to go too.
We hear this a lot. Not where we want it. Where do you want to be?
Well, you're never going to be.
You're never
going to be perfect, but you'd like to see continued progress. And when we see surveys like the J.D. Power CSI, or Customer Satisfaction Index survey, which is based partly on satisfaction with the product, but as a major part is customer handling. We've been improving there, but frankly, our improvements in the last couple of years are not as great as we'd like to see, and we're certainly not among the best. And as long as we're not among the best, we sure as hell can't be satisfied.
Products is always ranked high, image-wise. When I think of Chrysler, I think of engineering excellence. First thing I think of.
That's entirely correct.
Right. But you want this handle with care to match that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of predictions made last year about the market in '95. Most of them wrong. What happened?
Well, I think all of them are wrong, actually. We started out the year thinking we might sell 16.5 million units in the U.S., and it looks like it's going to be more like 15 million units. So we were off a long ways. I think what really happened, though, was all of those rate increases that the Fed put in. We had about 7 rate increases last year. They finally took the toll on the customer, and confidence went down, and sales just about stopped in the first quarter.
Through the industry.
Throughout the industry. Now, we see that coming back. As a matter of fact, June and July were excellent months.
There were records for us for the months.
And
what's turning it around?
Well, frankly, we spent a lot of money moving the inventory. As Bob said, we had planned on a much bigger year. So we built a lot of units towards the tail end of '94 to have a good supply in early '95. And we had a lot of stuff out there, and frankly, we spent a lot of money through the dealers moving it into the public, and we had a couple of great months.
What's the rest of the year going to be like? Give me a forecast for the final quarter.
Just about like right now. I think
good,
yeah.
Healthy,
very healthy. And matter of fact, this kind of year where we've got pretty steady sales is better than huge cycles with boom and bust. And as a result, we think that we'll be able to plan production better. The dealer will have a better steady flow of product, and he'll have hopefully a steady flow of customers as well. And we ought to all do very well in the next few years.
So it would take some extraordinary circumstances to get off that train.
In terms of
economics.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we have some more, if the Fed increases rates again, I think it could slow it down. On the other hand, if there were some loosening of credit, I think it could speed things up some more. But right now, as Bob says, I think we've got a steady base with just a slight year-over-year increase, and that's really good for us.
Now, how about the statement, we hear it a lot, I remember when the first car cost $10,000. I couldn't believe it. A car cost $10,000.
Right.
That was what you made a year. $10,000. Now that's, of course, there are no $10,000. What about the thought that they're too expensive?
Well,
This is public
my dad had a Chrysler New Yorker convertible that he bought in the fall of 1940, and I remember the list price was $14.95.
And he
not
complained.
$1,495.
And he probably said this is a little high.
But I also remember, when hamburgers cost 10 cents when I used to go get them after school. But we obviously do research on this whole affordability issue, and it's being blown out of proportion by the press. If you actually look at affordability,
you have a chart.
I just happen to have a chart.
I'm used to this.
Yeah, taking lessons from Ross
Perot.
Right. This is a very simple chart, and this basically shows the number of weeks that the average American had to work in 1983 to afford a new car. It was 23.6, and here's that same information for 1995. Is 23.4, and
less.
Basically means that incomes are rising faster than the price of new cars.
And another thing, if the car's built better and lasts longer, then I get a better return, right? Because
No
I'm not
question
taking
about
it
it.
in as much, nor am I trading it in as quickly.
That's correct. The average age of the cars out there in the public is growing and is now between 8.5 and 9 years. And as you pointed out, that's because they're lasting longer. The quality's better, the reliability's better, and the durability's better.
There's a phenomena I see everywhere, Bob. and tell me about it because I don't know that I understand it. Maybe dealers don't have leasing. Tell me about leasing.
Well, leasing in the perception of affordability, leasing helps overcome that perception.
It's like a monthly rate period.
Exactly, and we find that it is growing more popular.
Ford's more into it. Are you more?
Ford is far more into it than we have been. Frankly, when we were emerging from our financial difficulties, we didn't have the wherewithal to go into leasing as much. But we will shortly be rolling out to the dealers what we call our strategic lease program, where we intend to become far more heavily involved via Chrysler Financial. We'll do so-called strategic leases, mostly 2 years. We're going to be training the dealers and their salespeople and their F&I people on how to do the leases, how to manage the leases, how to maintain contact with the customer, to make sure that it is strategic for us, so that it's also a great vehicle for building owner loyalty.
Does the dealer do as well with a lease as he does with a sale?
I would say absolutely yes, if he knows how to lease properly.
And that's
part of what
system.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot about lean production. Want to explain that to me? What Chrysler's doing with regard to lean production?
Well, it's simply getting waste out of the system.
Meaner.
Leaner and meaner, and actually not meaner, but as Bob pointed out, affordability is something that we have to be concerned about continually, because we add new safety and emission equipment to the vehicles every year. We've got to offset that with productivity. And a lean manufacturing system or a lean dealership, all the same, simply getting all of the waste out of the system so that everybody's action is focused on getting a better and higher quality product. Nothing more to it than that.
That would seem logical. Everyone wants to streamline.
Well,
Right?
sure. Yeah, you drive waste out of the system and maximize the value to the customer. That's our philosophy. We want to give people a lot more vehicle than they really expect.
The media, Mr. Eaton, has occasionally been rough on you with regard to product quality. What's your read?
Well, we've made tremendous progress, no question about it. In fact, we came out of J.D. Powers this last year with some of the top products. And for the first time, we led in trucks, and even in passenger cars, we had some right up at the top. So
Another chart.
Another chart, just to assist our chairman. In passenger cars, of the most improved vehicles, we had 6 passenger cars in that list, and we had 5 of the most improved trucks. So we're making rapid progress, but again, I guess we'd both say our
Not where we
quality is
wanna be.
excellent,
No,
but not
that's
where
right.
we want to be.
Was the media right?
well, there's no
We
question
can
about
be
the
wrong
fact that
sometimes.
what the media was focused on was very, very small little differences. And they made those differences seem much bigger than they were. If you go back 5 years or 10 years ago, let's say, there was a very substantial difference in the quality of domestic products and Japanese. Well, there's still a difference, but instead of like this, it's now like this.
Do we generally, fellas, hold our own with the foreign imports now in quality and in
I'd say in overall vehicle satisfaction, we more than hold our own.
There was a
Because
slump
there's
there.
oh sure. I mean, for a while we lost our focus as not only as an industry but as a nation. But today I think we build more exciting styling, we offer lower prices, and we offer equivalent quality. And we offer cars that are fun to drive.
As Bob said, that comes down to better value and better customer satisfaction. And that really is the bottom line.
Let's talk about minivans. Came over here in one, they're fantastic. Question for you. The press said had some criticism about the launch being slow. Was that fair?
No, it wasn't, because no launch is trouble-free. But by and large, that has been one of the best launches we've ever had. Now, we ramped up the volume on a daily basis slower than we sometimes have historically, but that's because we let the quality drive the speed of the launch and not our desire for revenue.
Certainly the hit of the auto show.
No question. Hitting the marketplace, too.
Why is it a hit? What's this minivan boom?
Well, we really truly reinvented the vehicle, and quite often you see marketing slogans like that, but this one delivered. And the media picked that up very quickly, and the customers have picked it up very quickly.
See, nobody has as big an owner base as we have, and nobody is in as close touch with their owners as we are. And we knew exactly what the hot buttons were. We knew the things we needed to improve, and we knew the things that customers wanted that they couldn't find in any other minivan. And we
Like
wrapped
that
them.
door, that
Yeah,
fifth
we
door.
wrapped it all in just an outstandingly smooth package.
Yeah, and also drives like a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the most important things in business is know the competition. And I know both of you at the top end here at Chrysler worked for your competition. You for GM, you for Ford. Did that give you special insight?
Oh, without a doubt. I think, and the fact that both of us, and Bob was born in Switzerland, but both of us have lived in Europe, we've got a much better feel of the overall world automotive market, and I think all that helps us do our jobs better.
Yeah, I think it's one of the strengths of the Chrysler culture that there's the old established Chrysler culture, then there were the Ford imports, the American Motors imports when we bought AMC, and now we have some top people from GM, including the chairman. And that results in a group of people who are always questioning, why are we doing things this way? We're not in a corporate rut of only one way to do things, and that gives us the ability to change quicker. I think we are sort of a cultural melting pot, and I think it's a distinct advantage.
It's fiercely competitive, isn't it, though?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
As fierce as...
And it's going to get worse. I mean, there's no question about it. When you look at all of the Japanese that are now, because of the yen-dollar relationship, moving production here, and as they get lower cost sources of production that way, it's going to get a lot tougher.
Tom Peters says, though, competition usually helps a company.
Absolutely.
You like to have the rough guy out there.
Yes, you do, and I think it's stimulative, and I think this company has a distinct advantage over everybody else, and that's we have more people who are fanatical about the product and who like cars. We've got a whole group of people like that, in not only the two of us, but also in the officer ranks and the next level below that. We're passionate about vehicles, and I think that gives us a creative edge, and that's one of the things we're counting on to keep us ahead in the future.
A couple of other things. Kevorkian, he's still buying stock, right?
No,
That's Kerkorian.
Kevorkian is Dr. Death.
Okay,
That's
stop.
the guy with the injections.
Well, I was in Michigan, and that's what threw me, all right? Kerkorian. Worried about him?
Well, yeah, a little bit. You never know what he's going to do, I mean, he's out there and he's got...
Obviously, he likes the company.
Well, it's been very good for him. There's no question about it. And up until April of this year, he was an excellent shareholder. And then all of a sudden, he decided to get a little aggressive, and he wanted to put the company at risk. And we've worked hard, and the employees, all the people of Chrysler, have worked very, very hard for many, many years to get the company in the position that it's in. And we didn't like that. So we will continue to try to work with him and make sure that ultimately we give the best shareholder value that we possibly can to everybody out there, including Kerkorian. But we're going to do everything we can also to keep him from taking over the company.
The dealers in this Kerkorian fight, how were they?
Unbelievable. They supported us, whether it was the individual dealers or the dealer councils. They were writing into Washington, they were writing into here, they were going on radio programs and supporting what we had done in trying to build the strength of Chrysler.
So there was no any break in the ranks.
Oh, just exactly the opposite.
I had to make both of you feel terrific.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great support.
You're on a momentum now, right? The mid-'90s is starting to build again. How do you keep that going? Can Handle with Care help? Obviously it can help.
Yeah.
How do you keep momentum? I know as a sports fan, it's the hardest thing in the world to win tomorrow.
Bob and I talk about that a lot because in many ways adversity gets you going a lot better than when things are going well. Sure. And that's why one of the reasons we were glad the market got a little soft, because it put a little heat on us and made us focus again on cost reduction and speed improvement and further quality improvements. I guess it's just, Bob can tell you more about this, but his philosophy is just, which I share completely, you just have to keep focused on getting better and better, and always accepting that the improvement you made yesterday that got you to where you are today, if you hold it there, you're going to fall behind.
The
You
old
constantly
sport.
have to improve.
My friend Don Shula says, if you rest on your laurels, you rest.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
you're done.
right.
You're all done.
Yeah.
You've got to continually improve every day, whether it's in Chrysler or whether it's a dealership.
I thank you all very much, both of you, but the 96 models, give me a forecast. Hit car.
Well, obviously minivan and Grand Cherokee, Cirrus, Stratus, we've got hits across the board.
All of them.
Any surprise?
Well, you know, we may have a surprise out there in the economy, but if the economy hangs with us, and I think it will, 1996 model year, and for that matter, 97 ought to be terrific for Chrysler and terrific for the dealers.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great model year, by the way, and my apologies to, I don't know who to apologize to, Krikorian or Kevorkian. Little joke there, folks, in case you missed it. To all you dealers, have a great Handle with Care announcement event. Bye.